Hey guys, this is my first video on the channel. I just wanted to start making YouTube videos to help with my own public speaking and just get more confident with this. So I think I would talk about um, things going on around me that matter to me. So it's not going to be the most professional. You'll see a lot of stuttering, but this is just me being real with myself. And yeah, let's get on with the video. If you look at an Ordnance Survey map of almost any English county from 100 years ago, you see a specific pattern. You see villages, parishes, and communities that look like living organisms. They are defined by their geography, their church steeple, and the common land that everyone understood belonged to them. Now, look at the reality today. These communities haven't just changed, they've been dismantled. We've traded our history for sprawling, soulless housing developments and commuter towns that don't even have a name, let alone a soul. Today I want to talk about why the English village is dying and why it isn't some natural evolution of society. It's a deliberate push to replace the people with a transient, disconnected population. See, a nation isn't just lines on a map. A nation is built from the bottom up. It starts in the parish and starts at the hearth of the family. The Old English village was an organic, self-regulating entity. It was bound by shared blood, shared faith, and a shared understanding of what it meant to be English. When you walked through a village, you knew your neighbours. You were part of the lineage. But today, look at these new estates popping up everywhere. They're designed to be temporary. They're designed for people who have no roots, no local loyalty, and no sense of duty to the person living next door. When you remove the demographic and the moral anchor of the parish, the ship doesn't just drift, it sinks. People tell you this is just progress. They say it's just economics, but progress doesn't require you to destroy your own identity. The political class in your country, and honestly across the West, has no interest in preserving the organic English village. Why? Because organic communities are hard to control. They have their own traditions, their own internal moral codes, and they have a strong sense of who they are. The elites prefer a disconnected, atomized population. If you don't know who your neighbour is, if you care about your local heritage, you're much easier to manage, to tax, and eventually replace. But there's another factor that we don't talk about enough: mobility. 100 years ago, the vast majority of people lived out their entire lives within a few miles of where they were born. You grew up with the same people, you worked alongside them, you worshipped with them, and you were buried next to them. The continuity built a deep, unspoken bond. It means that your reputation mattered. It meant that you had to get along with your neighbours because you were going to be living next to them for the next 60 years. Now, we treat people like interchangeable units. We move for a job, for a better opportunity, for a cheaper house. We cut ourselves from the place that shaped us, and we expect it just to slot into a new environment. But community doesn't work like that. It takes generations to build. It takes shared history. You can't just move into a new build estate and pretend the people around you are your community. They're just strangers who happen to live nearby. And there's a cruel irony. We've replaced the physical community with digital connection. We stay in touch with school friends on WhatsApp. We FaceTime our parents. We scroll through Instagram looking at people we used to know and tell ourselves that we are still connected. But we're not. We're actually more isolated than ever because those digital connections just give us enough social stimulation that we don't feel the desperate need to go out and knock on our neighbour's door. We've perfected the art of staying in touch with people who live far away while completely ignoring the people that are just 20 feet from our door. This isn't community, that's a simulation, and it's simulation designed to keep us passive, distracted, and disconnected. I've spent a lot of time recently thinking about my own faith and what it means to return to Christianity, you realise that the decline of the village perfectly mirrors the decline of the church. The steeple wasn't just a landmark, it was a monument to the idea of a people that have a purpose beyond the economy. When the church was the centre of life, there was a moral framework that kept greed in check and maintained social cohesion. It forced you to interact with your community. You couldn't just hide behind a screen. You sat next to the same people every Sunday. You prayed with them. You shared their burden, and that what built the social fabric of the nation. When you replace that with consumerism, with endless entertainment, and with the state acting as your provider, you lose the glue that keeps us together. We're left with a bunch of individuals trapped in a machine, wondering why life feels so empty. It's empty because we are never meant to live like this. People ask if this is reversible. My answer is, you don't wait for a government to fix the village. The people in power are the ones who broke it. You start by reclaiming your own life. You start by getting right with God, prioritizing your family, and finding your own people. Put your phone down, walk outside and say hello to your neighbour. Join a local church. Get involved with something real. The era of mass-produced, globalised citizen is falling. The future belongs to people who have the courage to return to the land, the faith and the heritage that actually belongs to them. Build your own foundation. Everything else is just noise. Thanks for listening.